Alright, guys. This is my first wrestling podcast in such a long time. The last time I did one, it was averaging about 7,000 views per video. I made about 13 videos, and it's the first one. Of course, as you can see, it's called the Bikavak Wrestling Podcast, obviously, because my last name. I didn't want to overdo it with a lot of things, but this is the best I could come up with. The logo is something that's a work in progress. I mean, I feel like I could have done better, but it is what it is for right now until I find a better editing app, or I can find someone that can actually do a logo design for me with the name. Alright, guys, so today's. Sorry, lost my concentration, I thought. Today is the Royal Rumble. And we're looking at the Royal Rumble, looking at the card. I'm actually going to start off with the Raw Tag Team Titles match. Obviously, you have The Bar versus Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan. I think at this point, this is a very oversaturated feud between the two. Before Dean got hurt, Jason Jordan was putting into really random matches. I feel like they just compiled these two together, Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan, because they had nowhere else for Jason Jordan to go. I think even with the Kurt Angle storyline, with him, with Jason Jordan being his son, I think they've actually run out of options. Because I don't know if you've noticed on Raw, each and every week, there's less and less mentioning of him being Kurt Angle's son, or whatever it is at this point. I think what the WWE is trying to do is I think they're trying to move away from that angle of, no pun intended, by the way, of Jason Jordan being Kurt's son, because from the beginning I had promised to it, but let's be honest, that angle was, ever since it was unveiled, I personally thought it was going to be Chad Gable. I think it would have made more sense, literally a lot more sense athleticism wise. I mean, he had the build. No disrespect to Jason Jordan. I think that Jason Jordan isn't that good on the mic. I think he's absolutely horrible. His in-ring skills are very good. His psychological with his opponent, his ring chemistry, you name it, he has it all. But it's just something with his character, and it's maybe it's just a character flaw. I feel like when what they did with Kurt Angle and Jason Jordan, naming him his son, really put a down effect on Jason Jordan. A lot of people say, well, no, you're not giving Jason Jordan his credit. Well, I mean, with the newest rumor of being Seth Rollins versus Jason Jordan at WrestleMania, I think that's going to be a okay match. And I think he's getting the Roman Reigns treatment. A lot of people are starting to feel like that. Personally speaking, talking about this match, I think the Bar will win this match. I think that Seth Rollins should turn heel again. That is the only way to even make that match even possible with Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan at WrestleMania. You turn him heel, you keep Jason Jordan face for a while. I think it's too soon to turn Jason Jordan heel, because people have been saying, oh, he's been acting differently. He's getting fed up with people saying that he's Kurt Angle's son. But in the coming weeks, I think that you'll see a much more different approach. And even, I think it starts tonight when they lose the tag team titles, because I think it will make perfect sense for the Bar to lose and the Woken Hardys to challenge them for the tag team titles. That storyline, how it's going to play out, I'll explain later in the podcast. So I think this match is basically, this feud is basically a filler match. They've had this match multiple times, just constant feud. The Bar win. Seth Rollins turns heel after the match, attacks Jason Jordan. We see it on Monday Night Raw. Kurt Angle gets involved. I personally think that he curb stops Kurt Angle, and Jason Jordan gets fired. Stephanie McMahon rehires him, and boom, we have a match. They could have a stipulation: if Seth Rollins loses at WrestleMania, he's no longer a part of the WWE or a part of Monday Night Raw, we could see Seth Rollins then lose the match at WrestleMania, and then for Seth Rollins to even jump to the SmackDown brand. But we'll discuss that later down the line. The next match is obviously the Usos versus Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. Personally, feeling on this match, with the latest arrest from one of the Usos, just speaking off topic, I mean, they're going to lose the titles. Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable have so much going for them. I think they have great in-ring chemistry. I think they complement each other very well. The Usos don't really need to win this match. They could either win this match, retain all the way till WrestleMania, and then have Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin win at WrestleMania, have the WrestleMania moment. Personally speaking, the Usos could drop the titles now, get a rematch later down the road at SmackDown, then win the titles back from Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin, and just like every WrestleMania, someone turns heel. Whether it's that night, or whether it's a night on Raw, or in this case, them being on SmackDown. I think Shelton Benjamin could turn here. I think Chad Gable would be a perfect heel. I think he has everything. Like I said, I am such a huge fan of this guy. Like, he, I think, is a top 15 wrestler in the WWE just off in-ring athleticism. Personally speaking, the Usos drop the titles, get them back at WrestleMania. It won't hurt the Usos in whatsoever fashion. There's that, obviously, triple threat. There's not really much to discuss here. Kane's only in there to take the fall. 1, 2, 3. Brock retains. Brock and Roman at WrestleMania. Whether Roman wins the 30-man Royal Rumble, I'll discuss that later in the video. Brock wins it. I mean, there's not much. I think it'll be a lot more interesting match than people believe it to be. Brock himself, lately, it's been looking like, I think what they're going to end up doing with Brock is either he'll lose clean at WrestleMania, or you'll have Paul Heyman turning on him that very night, and then you'll have an explanation from Paul Heyman. People saying Brock Lesnar's contract expires the night after WrestleMania. I've actually know an editor at DQ News, No DQ News, that have also confirmed this, that his contract does not end at Mania, it ends the night after SummerSlam. So whether those reports are true or not, I mean, if they're not, that's perfectly fine. I still think he loses. If he loses, we might see night after Mania. We might see, if Paul Heyman actually ends up costing him a title, Brock come out, F5 Paul Heyman 3 times, walks off into the sunset, back he goes to UFC. Brock Lesnar retains in a triple threat match. Then you have Styles versus Zayn and Kevin Owens. There's been rumors that Zayn will win the title, and then at No Way Out, or at the Chamber, or later down the line, I've heard a rumor somewhere along the lines that Zayn will win, Kevin Owens will cost him the title, then we'll have a match at WrestleMania. Zayn versus Kevin Owens. I actually don't think that's gonna happen. I think AJ Styles obviously retains. There's really no point in him losing it now and then getting it back a few weeks later, a month later, this coming Tuesday on SmackDown. I think AJ Styles retains. But what I think ends up happening, I think this tonight you'll see a true dysfunction of Zayn and Kevin Owens. I actually think that Zayn will actually put on a great match. I think this match is going to be a lot better than what people expect it to be. I think this will actually be one of the Match of the Year candidates, as crazy as that sounds. You have 3 great workers, Kevin Owens, Zayn, and Styles. Kevin Owens, to me, has really been a slow worker in the ring, but a methodical worker, knows what he's doing. As for Sami Zayn, dude, I personally feel they could have done a lot better with his heel. I mean, his heel is like, he's a heel slash a little bit of a baby face. Like, I feel like they could have made him a more of a dominant heel than what he is. So as far as this match goes, AJ Styles wins. Zayn and Kevin Owens, you see a dysfunction. Then you see it coming on this past Tuesday. It's not so much Kevin Owens doing what he did to Chris Jericho at the Friendship Festival. I think you actually see Sami Zayn attack Kevin Owens, and you see the true heel and just what this guy can do as a heel. Not as just a heel. We see him as a face, but what this guy can do as a true heel. One of the things that I was actually told, and one of the things that I've actually taken a lot with me, was actually I learned from one of the guys in the Facebook groups, actually named Daniel. One of the things Daniel said to me, if the guy can't play heel, and if the guy can't play the baby face, as equally as good as one another. If he can play the heel good, but he can't be a face, then he's not really a good wrestler in his own right. Sami Zayn, I think, is one of the most underrated guys in the WWE that's come in such a long time. This match, like I said, this handicap match will be a show stealer. Probably gonna be the best match on the card tonight. Might not be. Just all depends on the last two matches. I'm gonna start with the 30, the Women's Royal Rumble. Whatever. Sorry, I'm reading off notes here. And in that match, I've had a lot of debates with people, and I've even had friends text me what I think is gonna happen in the Women's Royal Rumble. I don't think we'll see something that we've truly never seen ever before. A lot of people a few years ago said when the women used to come on to wrestle, let's say it was like Trish Stratus, Lita, it'd be a bathroom break match. I'm guilty of it. I used to change the channel, turn on Monday Night Football, and I'd rather watch a huge blowout than watch a women's match because of how boring it used to be. WWE used to dub it down, make it a 2-minute match on Monday Night Raw, and then just go into the final segment from anywhere from 10:40 to 11:05, 11:07, 11:10 Eastern time, whatever. I actually have 3 favorites that a lot of people don't really believe it to be. One of them is the most obvious, is Ronda Rousey winning the Royal Rumble. If she wins the Royal Rumble, I believe that what I've said in one of my groups is that I think that, her and Asuka are standing in the ring, and Ronda Rousey eliminates Asuka. Stephanie McMahon's music hits, comes from behind, tries to do a quick elimination. They leave off. This takes off from where they left off at WrestleMania a few years back in San Francisco, I believe, and in their new stadium. I think they go at it for a few minutes. I think they let it be believable. Stephanie gets some action in, and I actually think that my number one choice would be Rousey winning. And then we have Rousey versus Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, which I think will be a great match and one of the most hyped matches in WrestleMania history, but also one of the best because I have so much, I already can't even put it in words, so much faith in what Charlotte Flair can do in this ring with anyone. It's just, she is, men's and women's, she is my number 2 wrestler in the WWE. Can do it on the mic, can do it in the ring, all around, anyone. She's like the Greg Popovich of the WWE. She can take basically anyone that's really trash in the ring, on the mic, and make them look like pure gold in the ring, have a match of the year candidate with them every single time she steps through those ropes. So Rousey being my number 1. A number 2 one is a lot of people don't expect, and I think that this one people are gonna say, well, if she does that, she's getting the Roman Reigns treatment. Well, I don't think so, because I think that what ends up ultimately happening with this one, in a perfect world, in a perfect scenario, Sonya Deville from Monday Night Raw, I think could possibly win the Royal Rumble. I think she's a huge sleeper. A lot of people don't expect her to win. Probably all the Vegas betting odds probably doesn't even have her in the top 5, not even probably in the top 10. But from a standpoint, I've seen what she can do in the ring. My only concern is that she can't cut a promo, and that'll hold her back. Maybe give her more. I don't know. I just can't even put my words on. I think she's just really bad on the mic, but I think she's ultra talented in the ring, and I don't think people have even seen a glimpse at what she can do. But with this scenario, what ends up happening, Sonya Deville having the MMA background, people are saying, oh, she wears if you want to say the Brock Lesnar type of gloves on her hands. Some people even call her the female version of Brock Lesnar, just a lot less steroid up, and she's actually full-time and can actually wrestle. No offense to Brock, when he first started in the WWE, he could wrestle. Now it's suplex, 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 suplex. that just gets old. But it's another story for another time. I think Sonya Deville wins. And now with this one, with Sonya Deville winning, what I think could ultimately happen, I still think we could get a double whammy. I think we could still get Rousey versus, sorry, I'm writing something down right now, versus Flair. Somewhere along the line, Rousey comes on both shows and sees basically scouts her competition. She wants to face the best, and at this point in time, she doesn't think Alexa Bliss is worth her time. She goes on Tuesday night, comes out, calls out the women roster. Charlotte Flair comes out, says she's the best. Rousey knows she's the best. Boom, you have your match right there, right then and there. Cuts a promo. The match will sell itself. Some people don't think that Rousey deserves it, but being in the first Royal Rumble, people saying that she doesn't deserve it, okay, that's fine. Well, here's a backstory to that, you know what I mean? There you go. She will still get that match, but we could have Sonya Deville versus Asuka. Asuka coming in as a champion. Now, people are going to ask why have Asuka come in as a champion. Maybe down the line, have Alexa Bliss defend her title. Fun fact, Alexa Bliss has not defended her title since October. So I think that Asuka's going to challenge her within the coming weeks. If they go into Sonya Deville route in a perfect world, Asuka obliterates her. Sonya Deville versus Asuka at WrestleMania. A lot of people will look at this match and be like, no way. They'll even give Sonya Deville a chance. I think she'll have a very good fighting chance. I think this match will be a lot better than expected. I think the women's roster is the best women's roster it's ever been in any promotion in the WWE. Sonya Deville versus Asuka will sell it. It won't sell itself, but I think if they're giving the right amount of time and the right amount of attention on Raw, and they're giving the right amount of time in ring together, I think this could be one of the better matches at WrestleMania. And then my third option, which is kind of like a controversial one, really, but I could see it happening. I think we could see Carmella, as crazy as it sounds, winning. She could become the first woman to win the Money in the Bank, first woman to ever win first Women's Royal Rumble. What I think could end up happening is, like I said, regardless, I think we get a Rousey title match with whoever. It's following the same thing. Asuka challenges Bliss down the line. Bliss loses. Asuka comes in as champion. Rousey faces her at Mania. Rousey beats Asuka. And then as far as what Carmella does, obviously you have Carmella versus Charlotte Flair. I think what you could have happening is Flair using her father's, dirty tricks against her in the match against Carmella. Her losing, there you go. Did she lose 1, 2, 3, or she taps out, or she holds the rope, whatever the case might be. I think Charlotte Flair wins that. Carmella comes up, as Charlotte's celebrating. Sorry, I'm just reading off notes. She comes in, hits her with the briefcase, attacks her at Mania after the first match. Carmella cashes in, so she's cashing in her Money in the Bank. Match starts. Carmella just literally gets on top, hit 1, 2, 3. There's that. Then you have Carmella, and that's gonna be like, people say, oh, that's a weak prediction. It wouldn't really make sense. But Carmella's gonna have to cash that in, and I think this would be more of a legit chance. It'd be like getting back revenge at Mania, right then and there. And then she could just drop the title Tuesday. There's that. Like, people say, well, why are you doing it like this? I mean, I think that gives Carmella's character a huge burst of life. The women's division, a huge burst of life. Charlotte wins her title back. So, my third choice winning the Women's Royal Rumble will obviously be Carmella. Just writing that down now. Sorry, guys. And 30-man Royal Rumble. Now, this one, in the coming days, I flip-flopped my opinion on this. As far as who I have winning, one of my favorite guys in the WWE, a lot of people don't know, has always been Dolph Ziggler, majorly underused. I think that he could win and have a, quote-unquote, using Dave Meltzer's ratings, a 6-star match. Yes, they would be getting a 6-star match. Dave Meltzer. Dolph versus AJ Styles at WrestleMania. My number two choice, obviously, to me, another big fan of Finn Balor. Having Balor win the Royal Rumble, people say it really wouldn't make much sense. I mean, with the number two, having Balor win, I think what we could see is maybe having Braun win or whatever, win the title tonight at the Royal Rumble, and go in and defend it somewhere down the line, and ultimately have like a triple threat, whether it's a Monday Night Raw or the week before Mania or a few weeks before Mania. You could have Brock, Roman, Braun, have Roman win. Roman walks into WrestleMania champion somehow, faces Balor, much more believable than Balor versus Brock. And then you have Balor beat Roman, 1, 2, 3. It's more believable. And then you could book Finn as a heel coming in, and you could also after that you could book that Roman has yet to beat Finn Balor for the championship, so he could be used as a Roman's big dog empire or whatever you want to call it, be used as the Achilles heel for Roman Reigns, and that was two guys. So you got Finn. So with my third one, obviously, I mean, like I said, I want to pick everyone. Just want to pick the field in this one, but in my heart of hearts, it's not gonna make sense. But Rusev's been selling merchandise. He's been doing great in ring. I mean, he's finally getting pops. He's finally getting a chance. So I'm gonna go with Rusev. Rusev versus AJ Styles could be, I think, a great match if given the time, if given the right amount of attention. Book him as a really strong heel. We have Rusev Day all over the news. Anytime you look up, you see a Rusev shirt. Anytime you look up WWE, you just see the merchandise, Rusev. At one point, he was even outselling Finn Balor and Roman Reigns. So, Rusev as the third. Now, as far as who we're gonna see in the Royal Rumble as surprises, my one. I don't want to say this because I think Vince doesn't. People say Vince isn't a fan of having two guys on two separate TV shows. Like, I think it's gonna be Chris Jericho. For what I'm trying to say with that is, I don't think people say, "Oh, Vince is not a fan of having Chris Jericho in New Japan being on their TV and then being on the Royal Rumble." Well, it's a one night off thing. I think we might see Chris Jericho. I mean, that's just me. And like people saying that, I think tonight the rumor got finally buried because EC3 is on, what is it? He's taped. I've heard this from actually a friend of mine, and I've actually heard this from a few people that he's taped shows all the way through March and that they're going to be airing. And he was featured on NXT tonight. Which, by the way, if you haven't watched NXT, you need to go watch NXT. I'm not going to do a review on this because I'm just trying to make my first podcast short, sweet. That's that. So NXT was great tonight. Need to check out Johnny Wrestling. Johnny Wrestling, besides the Velveteen Dream, is my favorite wrestler. You really need to check this out. You also need to check out Adam Cole versus Aleister Black. Like, this show, whatever the Royal Rumble does, NXT TakeOver has blown it out the water. It's not coming close to it unless Sting shows up, which is actually my number two. But yeah. So that's what I think. Who are my number one surprises for that one? As number two, actually I have this from a friend. One of my friends named Raymond mentioned this. Sting's been posting more things on Twitter. And then you had the Undertaker say that he, all those souls rest in peace. This is just me kind of reaching out. I hope it's Sting. He took a photo with Razor Ramon and his NWO Wolfpack paint on Instagram. I actually have the screenshot sent by my friend Raymond. I would like to see Sting, but I don't think we'll get it. But if we do see Sting, just imagine this. Sting is in the Royal Rumble. He, for example, let's just say he eliminates Titus O'Neil. Boom, the gong hits. Lights go out. Everyone's looking at the ramp, thinking Taker's going to come. Lights come on. Right behind Sting is The Undertaker. And just having that epic moment where you thought that you would never see these two in the ring ever again due to Undertaker's age and injuries and Sting having his neck fusion surgery that he's put off for a while because he said at the cons that he's been, even in the podcasts that he's done, that if he gets the neck fusion surgery, he knows his wrestling career is done, that he can never come back to wrestle ever again at his age. I believe he's 56, 57. The dude, even at 56, 57, can put on better matches than some 20-year-olds ever can. So if we ever get to see that, I mean, this is like me just reaching out. I think Sting would be too. I know it's not happening, but I can dream at least. And for my third one is actually someone that I was looking at for a while, and he's in great in-ring condition, is X-Pac. Yeah, him doing like all that on Monday Night Raw's 25th anniversary, but what is it, 2 months ago? He was just wrestling in, was it England? I believe even a month ago, he was still wrestling. The dude's 45. He looked in great condition. Man, I looked lean, skinny, looked like he was like the 1, 2, 3 kid almost. Yeah, seeing X-Pac as a surprise would be great. And as far as the women, obviously, I'm going to make this one short and sweet. Trish Stratus being one. I think you can't have the first Royal Rumble without having the greatest diva of all time. Trish Stratus, I mean, to some people it's debatable. Trish, to me, is non-debatable. 2, Lita. Wasn't at the 25th anniversary, so she says she didn't get an invite. Well, I think we know why she didn't get an invite. I don't think they would just do that to her. She was one of the ones that first led the charge of the women's revolution and still is leading it to this day. I think she didn't get an invite because they were trying to keep her under wraps for the Royal Rumble, for the first ever women's Royal Rumble this Sunday. And for the third one, I've kind of debated over this one, and it's kind of a good combo. You already know who I'm going with. The Bellas, as I think it's just oversaturated. How many times are they both gonna retire, unretire, retire, unretire, unretire, do this, do that, do that? I think we just see them. I mean, I think that's a slam dunk prediction for that one. As for the Royal Rumble itself, honestly speaking, I think this Royal Rumble could have been a lot better. I think that you'll definitely see some feuds that'll set up WrestleMania, obviously, like every Royal Rumble. Sorry, guys, just writing some stuff down. This Royal Rumble, I think, will be good, but I think the 2 shows following, the night after the Rumble, which is Monday Night Raw, and the SmackDown after the Rumble, I think will be a little bit better than the Royal Rumble itself. I mean, that's just going off prediction. I think they could have possibly, I don't know. I just think this Royal Rumble is a little too predictable. And as for people's biggest so-called favorite to win the Royal Rumble, and I'm going to take a lot of heat for this because I've stuck up for this guy even when he was in New Japan. I don't think Nakamura is ready to win the Royal Rumble. I don't think he should win the Royal Rumble for this point being. I think at the end of the day that Vince McMahon himself will sit down and realize, why do I need to give Nakamura the spotlight? Why does he want to copy what Styles and Nakamura did in New Japan? He doesn't need to do that. Vince likes being sometimes original, but he doesn't want to copycat New Japan, something that happened 2 years ago. It's one of the greatest matches of all time. My point being is, how is he going to sell this if, the language barrier and Nakamura can't sell it? Is he going to sell it off the past? Off what they did in, New Japan? Because everyone knows that Vince doesn't like mentioning other wrestling companies on his show, or people looking it up on the internet. Oh, there's another wrestling company. He just thinks it's bad for business, his business practices, whatever. I personally don't think Nakamura is ready because of the promos. I also don't think he's ready because of his booking lately. Also, him in-ring, his strong style isn't really strong style like it was in New Japan, like people were expecting it to be in-ring. So, personally, everyone wants Nakamura to win it, and I think if you put Nakamura and Styles in a match together at WrestleMania, they'll knock it out of the park. Oh, excuse me, guys. But I honestly think, speaking wholeheartedly about this, I think all the dirt sheets reporting, oh, Nakamura is going to win, Nakamura is going to win. I don't think he's going to win. I don't see him winning. I don't want him to win. I think if he wins, I think it'll just be for a short term amount of time, and they'll see like, oh, he's not world champion material. My biggest fear is that he'll be champion for 30 days, and they'll take the belt off him, and he'll never get another chance. And I honestly, truly believe that if they push him, because the WWE has done that before with guys. I mean, they gave, what was it? Can't remember his name right now. The guy who won the Money Bank. Oh, Damien Sandow to win the Money Bank, and obviously that didn't work out because they thought he wasn't good on the mic. He thought he was all right in the ring. He had that it factor, yes, but it really wasn't showing. I mean, I feel like I'm watching a rerun of it, except Nakamura's better in ring than he was. He has capabilities that are holding him back because they don't want guys to be slaughtered, of course, because of how strong style really is in New Japan. And the guy can't cut a promo, and it's just because of the language barrier, and I really don't think that's fair. Just because he can't cut a promo, just because he doesn't know fluent English. But it's just the way the business is. Promos sell. Brock Lesnar doesn't do promos. Paul Heyman does promos. That puts butts in seats. That'll sell merchandise. Nakamura, world-renowned name in New Japan. Come to America, in NXT, they'll know him. Bunch of indie guys, like fans that love like New Japan Pro Wrestling, independent circuits, no matter what. Bring him to the WWE Universe, people are still, to this day, are getting adjusted to him. So as far as Nakamura winning the Rumble, I would love to see it. But a part of me is really going to hate to see it more than I would love to see it, just because I think they'll take the title off him way too quickly. So yeah, my official prediction, who wins the Men's Royal Rumble, it's been like tough for me as who wins it. Ultimately speaking, I flip-flopped on this so much the last couple of days. It's just, even to this moment, it's still tough. But honestly speaking, I think that Dolph Ziggler does end up winning, comes back from his retirement angle, throws everyone out. We have that match, and then they'll find something to do with Nakamura. I don't know what it is just yet. I mean, they could have a Randy Orton versus Nakamura thing, but I just think that'll be a horrible idea. I think Nakamura shouldn't be set to that standard of having just a regular singles match with Randy Orton. Not that there's anything wrong with Randy Orton, but I don't know. They could add Nakamura to that match later on, maybe like what they did with Kurt Angle, Rey Mysterio, and Randy Orton at WrestleMania 20, I believe. They have that triple threat match. I think that match would be great, but ultimately, in my heart of hearts, I believe that Dolph Ziggler should win. It's his time. He's earned it. He's done a lot for the company. He's been screwed over multiple times. That Survivor Series push was one hell of a match, and everyone thought he was getting a push. Didn't get it. Resigned with the company. From what I read and from the dirt sheets, that he was promised one world title run. Well, here it is. He ended up retiring, so saying we had that whole retirement angle. Comes back into the Royal Rumble. I think he puts on a clinic. And by clinic, I think he has 9 eliminations. And I think I think it'll come down between him and Roman. And I honestly believe Roman comes out at 30. They're going to do it again, guys. Everyone's going to expect that number 30, who's it going to be? Is going to be Roman. Dolph throws out Roman, puts on a good, maybe 5-6 minute match, throws him out. Not only does that cement who Dolph is, but that brings back legitimacy to the guy. And the match between him and AJ Styles, I think that will be one of the best matches that I've ever seen. I'm such a huge fan of both. Styles going back to his TNA days. Dolph, since the dude entered the WWE. I also think that a guy that people aren't really expecting to enter the Rumble just because he appeared in NXT tonight is EC3. Another guy that I see entering the Royal Rumble, hopefully, is Adam Cole. I think it could be time to bring him up. He doesn't need an NXT title run. He's been in Ring of Honor. He even did some stuff in New Japan, Bullet Club, you name it. They could even bring him up for one night and bring him right back down. Yes, that'll be a waste, but you could have him go to SmackDown, have possibly Adam Cole versus Nakamura at WrestleMania, which I'll be attending. So yeah, guys, those are my predictions and what I think is gonna happen. As far as the Women's Royal Rumble, I see Rousey winning. Excuse me, guys. Want Sonya to win, but yep, that is my prediction as of right now, and hope you guys enjoyed the video.